I'm not supposed to be talking about things that bad people do. And so we'll be appealing very quickly.
The federal judge overseeing the 2020 election interference case against disgraced former President Donald Trump in Washington imposed a narrow gag order on him on Monday, barring the Republican from making statements targeting prosecutors, possible witnesses, and court staff. The order from Tanya Chutkan marks a milestone moment in the federal case that accuses Trump of illegally conspiring to overturn his 2020 election loss to Joe Biden. It's the most serious restriction a court has placed on Trump's incendiary rhetoric, which has become a centerpiece of his grievance-filled campaign to return to the White House while fighting criminal charges in 4 cases.
But, people understand it. And normally if you get indicted, if you're a politician, I've watched it for years, they get indicted and they walk to a microphone about 4 minutes later. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be leaving office to fight for my reputation and spend time with my family. I love my family so much. That they're out, they're gone. With me, I have a big platform so I can explain things.
Chutkan said Trump is entitled to criticize the Justice Department generally and assert his belief that the case is politically motivated, but can't mount a smear campaign against prosecutors and court personnel. She said no other criminal defendant would be allowed to do so, and I'm not going to allow it in this case. And let's be clear, Donald Trump's harsh language is abusive. It is not just critical, it is abusive, it is hate-filled, it's hate speech, criticizing the race of the prosecutor. In the case of Jack Smith, he says, I wonder what his real name is. He's said that several times now. And to the naked ear, people are like, what does that even mean? What is Jack Smith's real name? Well, for those who care, it's because Jack Smith is Jewish and Donald Trump is anti-Semitic, and so saying what is his real name suggests that Jack Smith may have changed his name to westernize it, and yet Donald Trump says it as a xenophobic and anti-Semitic trope. And as long as Donald Trump claims that he's not anti-Semitic or he's pro-Israel or he's not racist or, he has black friends, he is. And it's at times like this when Trump is under pressure to his true colors come out.
Today, a judge put on a gag order. I'll be the only politician in history that runs with a gag order where I'm not allowed to criticize people. Can you imagine this? Do you believe this? I'm not allowed to criticize people. So we'll see. We'll appeal it, and we'll see. But it's so unconstitutional. The good thing is we have so much support. It's incredible. And it just makes it even more so.
He talks about it like it's a badge of honor, that he's the only president that's ever run with a gag order, like it's a badge of honor. And let's be clear here. Donald Trump has no interest in policy. He has no interest in helping people or being a public servant. He's only interested in winning, and winning so that he can then protect himself from future prosecution. That's the only reason he's doing this. Oh, and to fundraise and to make a living. I mean, this has become his job now, right? So here we have a guy who is, again, immediately lying, saying, I'm not allowed to criticize people. Well, that's not true. He is allowed to claim that it's politically motivated, but he can't specifically say hate speech about individuals and potentially prejudice the case. And, no matter what they do to him, whether they bind him up and tie him up and put tape over his mouth, Donald Trump will give his base an alternative story. So whatever happens in reality, Donald Trump is going to twist it and present it as an alternative fact.
Look, I'm the only guy that ever got indicted. I got indicted more than Alphonse Capone. Did anyone ever hear of Al Capone? If you looked at him the wrong way, he was seriously tough, right? Scarface. They call him Scarface. Had a little scar in there. I'm sure it was a minor accident.
And here we have Donald Trump yet again taking a weird position about Al Capone. He loves mobsters. He loves the mafia. He thinks of himself as a mafia boss. He likes to align himself with Al Capone. He references him all the time. And, he says, I'm the only guy who ever got indicted, which, again, doesn't really make sense. I presume he's the only ex-president who's running for the presidency that ever got indicted, again, wearing it as a badge of honor. But then this weird comparison with Al Capone being a tough guy. And again, that's more of his interest in strongmen, criminals, autocrats, dictators, and the likes of those people we've seen around the world, these authoritarian characters that Trump likes to model himself on. And, you know, if he were to win, and there is a good chance that he might because he's the leading Republican ticket holder, then, you know, you're going to get a strongman. You're going to get somebody, or who is at least pretending to be a strongman, who will shut down the judiciary, who will prevent any investigations of continuing into him and his criminality, and who will basically change the face of America and just rebuild it in his image. I'm Anthony Davis. You can hear me every day on the 5-Minute News podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered with Ron Filipkowski, and here on Sundays on The Weekend Show with MeidasTouch.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.